All right, we got everybody in here. I just started the broadcast. We want to merge with upstream, and then we realized actually let's try the other technique we were just talking about, which is rebasing with upstream develop, so that it doesn't leave a bubble, quote unquote, in your Git log history, and uh, it just promotes cleaner Git log practices.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let me um, set up an example. So, well, let me first show you what the difference is between merging and rebasing. So, Marcelo,
Yes.
can you see? Well, this might not be the best.
Why don't you go
example.
I send you my teammate.
Oh no, I'm in the teammate. Aren't you guys still here?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
still here. I would say just go for the rebase right now, and we'll suffer through whatever pain it offers.
Yeah, but I wanted to show the difference between rebase and merge, but looking at this commit history, uh, let's see if I can actually go down. I have to scroll down pretty far to actually see where the rebase does affect it.
Can you make it a little bit bigger, Brian?
Are you looking at your own
Isn't this
terminal?
on your own terminal, Marcelo?
No.
It is.
No? It should be.
Just
This is your
click to
teammate
the
session.
furthest right
Still
session.
my teammate. I closed it, the other one.
Oh,
Nope.
did you? Did
No?
you? No?
All right.
I don't know. Well,
If
we're
you did, we
still
would have been
in.
kicked out. So I think Marcelo, show your screen.
Marcelo?
Yeah. Hold on.
Is there another tab, perhaps?
No.
Oh, so we're in some.
We're in some.
Did you just? How do you?
I send you. Just
Is
use
it
the.
teammate attach or something
Let's just
to get
test through
back?
his new session.
I put a new session in there.
Okay,
Just grab that one.
right. Yeah, we'll get into your new session.
All right. I see John. And I see Brian. Okay.
Okay. My only issue is this is
Beautiful.
long. There's a lot of commits. I don't really know how to show you guys the difference. It goes really far back. Right. Okay, I think I know how. So let me just create a new branch called test. And just for testing purposes, and I will go all the way back to a certain commit wherever changes to YouTube created. Okay, so is this where the branch begins? Created a timeline spike in the code. That
Yes.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
So I want to go git reset. So if I type git log, yep, I'm back here. All right. So, yeah, I'm in the test branch. So let me show you the difference between a merge and a rebase. So it will only be visible in the history. So let me fetch upstream. So now we've got a new, fresh copy of develop in the remote branch upstream develop, right?
Okay.
So, wait, let me create a new one, test with rebase. Let me just create a new one called test with merge. Sorry, you can delete all these branches when I'm
Yeah.
done. So this is your history right now, okay? So somewhere along the line, you created a new commit, created a timeline spike in the code, and the upstream has gotten a few more extra commits. So that one's just a bit ahead. So if I go check out upstream develop, so try and remember somewhere here is changes to YouTube query or merge pull request from 395. Let's try and remember that. So here I am in a headless state. Check the history. So this has a different history. A lot more pull requests were merged. We're up to 410. So if we keep going down, there we go, 395 here. So somewhere here, this is where we broke off and started work on your branch, right?
Where is it? Can you show it to me?
Here.
Yeah.
So this is so I found this commit.
Okay.
What's the date on the commit?
Fifth. I mean 4th of May. Well, that doesn't matter. But from this commit, you sort of branched off and started work on the Scrum spike. So if I go back to test with merge and then type git log, so here, this is the same commit, right?
By the way, whatever you're highlighting with your mouse on the screen doesn't come through.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not seeing anything.
Well, that sucks.
So that's the reason why I'm asking you
Try
to slow down.
actually highlighting with the shift key. I'm just curious if that comes through.
Okay, can you see that?
Nope.
No.
No. Okay, fine. That's unfortunate.
Well, just turn on your screen share. We'll put the share on you, just for the sake of the video at least.
All right. Let me try and figure out if there is a way for me to highlight.
Yeah, I can
Can I
see your
do
cursor
visual
moving
mode?
around there. Yep.
Well, I can't do visual mode. That's a shame. But can you see the cursor?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
better.
So this the commit that we branched off from.
Yeah.
I mean that is the common ancestor. I'll show you again because obviously you didn't see it. So that's the commit I'm focusing on. If I go check out back to upstream develop and type git log, now somewhere down here, if I keep scrolling down, I'll find, oh, there it is. Pull request 395.
Yes.
This is the same commit, right?
Yes.
So somewhere along the line, you branched off and did all your changes, and then upstream went on and just
develop.
never touched develop, and upstream went on and did all this extra stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So now there are two ways to resolve that. One is to merge. So let's go back to test with
That's what
merge.
we've been doing up to this point, right?
Yep,
We used
that's
to merge
right.
it with develop. Okay.
So if I go merge upstream develop, let's find out what happens. There's a conflict.
Just
Damn.
two.
You know what?
See if they're easy to resolve. Honestly, it doesn't matter which way we resolve them either, just for the sake of the demo.
Can I just add it? Commit.
Yeah.
Merged with upstream. Doesn't matter because this is okay. You can solve this. So it's been merged. Okay, and now let me look at the history. So what happened here? So if I go all the way back, but you can see it just adds all the commits as an extra path. Okay,
So let's find
so
that 395.
yeah, here it is. So this is where um, we are having like the common ancestor start from.
Okay.
And then can you see this red line?
Yes.
This is where where you've worked from. So all these asterisks here, there are your commits, like the commits you've made.
Yeah, well, some pretty in that case, right?
Yeah, well, Semperine in that case, yes, but
Yeah.
yeah, this is where your branch is working on, and then
Okay.
everything else that has happened from upstream goes in this separate line, like these separate tree lines.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
So they all sort of work. The way it works is they have these two lines going in parallel, and then at the end it merges together at the end somewhere up here. Yeah, there it is. So at the end it all merges together. So that
Well, you
means,
just did that, right?
yeah,
The merge.
this is how merge works.
Yes.
It treats the history as going in parallel.
Correct.
Like
Correct.
somebody branched off here and did work there, and then work continued somewhere else. Then you merge it together. That's reflected in the history. So this is how the history works
Right.
when you merge.
My Scrum spike right now is merged with developed with no conflicts, right?
Yes. Well, there are conflicts, I'm afraid. But
There were.
yeah,
I
there
thought
were
we resolved
conflicts.
those. No.
Yeah, we'll resolve that later. I didn't resolve it properly. This
Okay.
is just to demonstrate. But this is how the GitHub how the history is saved. They work in parallel.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, it's different with rebase. Let me show you. So this is test with rebase. So let me go to test with this is test with merge. Let me go to
With
test
merge.
with
Yeah.
rebase. So this is rebase. So let me do git rebase. But okay, let me show you the history again, how it looks like, right? So we have this common ancestor here, pull request 395, right?
Yes.
And then these are all the other stuff that we've done
Yes.
in this branch, right? So this is the 4 things that will happen. So let's see what happens when I rebase. Git rebase upstream develop. They're essentially the same thing. Commit, or no, just rebase. Continue. No, git.
Add.
Yeah, just add them all and see if it continues. More to add. More to continue.
All right, and normally you wouldn't be just doing that. You would actually be popping it open and resolving those commits.
Yeah, I would. Don't do this. Like,
Yes.
this is a very bad way to resolve commits. But for demonstration purposes,
You're on video, right? You're on video, so.
Yeah. Gosh, there is a. It's not going to be fun to rebase this. Okay, so let me show you the Git history. So this is how it all looks like now. So let me look for that 395.
There it is.
395. There it is. Yep.
May 4th.
Yep. This is it.
Okay.
So from here, it continued. So what rebase does is it just acts as though you applied all your changes on top of whatever has happened on develop. So instead of working in parallel, you work in series. So whatever happened in develop happened in the past, and then every change that you made will happen later. So that's how the history looks like. So if you go up here, right at the top of the history is all your changes here.
So the things that we were pretending to resolve in the rebase, would those
Hmm.
have popped all the way up to the top, or would they have been hidden within the commits that they were merging into?
I think that would be that's a good point. I think they would be hidden in the commits that has been they've been merged into. Sync
Okay.
with upstream. Yeah, I think it should be like part of the commit that's been resolved on its way.
So really what's happening is, if we can remember back to where the red line was, is running up the red line next to the original and wanting to just have every single one of them merged, and then it pops every
Hmm.
time there's an error there and has you manually do it. You know?
Yeah, let me see if I can actually bring it up and have it side by side. So there you go. So this is how the Git history looks like. Let me go back up. So yeah, you can see the red line is showing that things are working in parallel. Here you don't see that red line. It's just everything that has happened. I mean, that was supposed to happen on.
So, but
Well,
the top, let's see, after you do the test with rebase, it puts
mhm.
all my commits on top.
Yeah, it puts all your commits on top.
Okay.
Here, yeah, that's the difference with rebase and merge. Merge puts your commits side by side. Rebase puts
Mm,
it on top.
okay. Will that create a lot of conflicts or?
No, but
I,
oh, go ahead.
the commits are resolved differently because when you rebase, it essentially replays all your changes on top of upstream develop. So every time,
Oh,
like if you have a lot of commits and each commit has a different conflict, you're gonna get a lot of separate conflicts because you're trying to apply changes that are conflicting with upstream. Do you see what I mean?
yeah.
So it's a lot more harder to resolve conflicts when you rebase, unless you squash the commits or something. Um,
I see why those often go hand in hand.
yeah.
So do you, let's say like every single day Marcelo wakes up and does a rebase. He doesn't have to rebase through all the things that he resolved before, right? It'll just be if upstream has
Yeah.
three more commits, he'll have to rebase his way through those, which hopefully will be no conflict. But
Yeah.
he won't have to like redo those every single day, right?
No, I think the conflicts are resolved and then those changes are recorded into the commits.
Right.
So rebasing on top of like older changes won't be that bad, and you'll
Gotcha.
only be applying a few more extra commits of changes rather than the whole commit history again.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why I had to do multiple git add and then continue because I had to resolve each step
Uh,
independently. Whereas in merge, it treats everything as just one big step. So that's why when you go for a rebase workflow, you usually also squash commits
okay.
because it makes it easier to resolve these conflicts. Because
Well,
you only have,
go ahead.
yeah, all I was saying is you only have to do it once. Did you have something to say, John?
Well, so what should we do going forward?
I would, um,
Can you
well,
mix and
uh,
match both of them if you want? Or
you could, well, we always have, I mean, there will always be some merging. Um, I would say if we want to switch to this whole new rebase workflow, I would really practice squashing first, because right now we have, tons of commits.
Mm-hmm.
So squashing is good. start. So we practice squashing our commits, and then once we manage to get them like to just a few commits, we can keep like a short bit of pairing history around. But right now, I wouldn't rebase this particular story because it has lots of commits, and you saw what I had to do. I had to um, basically resolve like 10 conflicts or something on the way. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to rebase this. But in future pull requests, keep try and squash all your commits to just one commit. When you're pairing, make sure each person, when they have when they're working on it, make sure all the after they've pong it, when they want to pong it to the next person, make sure they squash the pull request, and so that it's just one commit. It makes it easier to resolve in the end.
Okay.
And then we'll practice rebasing after that, because rebasing right now is a real pain.
Okay.
But you can see the difference. One just works in parallel. One treats it as like replaying all the changes on top of it.
Yeah.
So go on.
So you still have that test branch without
Yes.
either the merge or the rebase. Could we go there and then practice squashing?
Sure. Although squashing would mean you'll get rid of the author's details. So there's Marcelo, there's Sampriti.
Mm-hmm.
If we squash those two commits, we have to get rid of one of the authors. That's the problem.
Yeah. I think that if we start doing this, which we're not 100% sure that we will, but what we would do is just basically whoever's running the story gets all the credit, and who gives a damn, really. So this is Marcelo's pull request with help from many people, and then,
In fact,
tomorrow Sam could have his own story.
Yeah. In fact, I'll try and figure out how to add multiple people. I think there is a way to add multiple people to your commit, because they've at work, at least, the client has set up like special hooks on GitHub so that you can specify who your pairing partner was.
Oh, really?
Which is kind of cool. Yeah.
I thought you guys didn't even pair.
No, we don't really do. Apparently they do, and it makes it harder for us. So we have to like skip the hooks every time we commit. It's kind of annoying. But sometimes we pair. Yeah, but we're not officially pairing because they have like a list of pairing partners, and since they are, the people who are listed there are not like us contractors.
Right.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. So we're not allowed to use that feature, but I'll see how they implemented it, and maybe I can introduce it here. So when you squash commits, you can still keep who your pairing partners were in the story.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
just for practice, squash those top
Yeah.
3 commits.
All right. So, Marcelo, you still watching? Let me close the other. Let me close this.
In fact, I was going to ask you how to squash a commit, so that's a good sample.
Wait, check out a new branch for this. This is sort of a nice template.
Test with squash. Okay. So this is now the history. When you're squashing, you really shouldn't squash anything that's being kept up, permanently in the repo. So the limit of squashing, I'd say, is up here. This is where you branched off from. That's as far as you should squash to. Never squash anything below that, because it will make it very, very difficult to merge with changes from other people. So the thing about squashing is you have to be careful what you commit, because once you squash, the histories are no longer compatible. If somebody had an older version, they cannot they cannot simply merge with something. They have to do lots of work to resolve the conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot more difficult. So
Well,
when you're squashing, just be careful what you share and what you've pushed up and who's pulled from your branch and things like that. Go ahead, John.
so as long as you always start from the right place and never squash behind it, you should be good.
Yep.
As long as other people aren't branching off of you.
Yeah, exactly. So what I usually do is keep it to one commit, so I know exactly where I've branched off from. So I only commit once, and I just keep updating that commit rather than making multiple commits and squashing everything to one tiny commit. Okay, so right, we're gonna squash the top 3 commits. So the command for squashing is git rebase -I believe, and then head tilde, and how many branches do you want to squash? So in
Okay,
this case, I
so
want to squash 3.
if you said 0, that would only give you the top one, right? Or would it give you none?
I think it'll give me none. So if I do this, oh, nothing.
No op, that's funny.
Yeah, no op.
No up.
Okay. So it's a no op. So what I want to do is really squash the top 3 commits. So doing that. So this is like the rebase. It's the interactive rebase mode. So when you're rebasing interactively, you can do whatever you want to these 3 commits. So I can't remember which one was the top one now.
Create a timeline spike in the code, I believe.
Oh, okay, right. So that's the most recent one. So I guess I want to squash this one, so that I will just replace it with squash. These are the commands that you can use: fix up, squash, edit, reword, pick, execute. So I think pick is used for stuff like cherry picking. I haven't used the other commands, so I only use squash when I'm here. So you can say squash or just S for short, because
Okay.
there's an alias here.
Okay.
So saying squash means I want to squash this commit with the commit before. So here. So when I want to squash all 3 commits to 1, I will squash the bottom 2 commits. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll save and quit. Quit and save. No. It's WQ, sorry.
WQ.
Yes, WQ. So that exits from the interactive mode, and then now it moves to a different screen that shows all your old commit messages and asks you to pick which one you want to keep. So you can either keep the first commit message, the second one, the third one, or just write a completely new one. So I can just write a new one like this has been squashed or something.
Which you wouldn't actually write. You would just sort of meld the ideas from the 3. So something about the YouTube query and the spike.
You can even see the modified files here, if it helps. But just for show purposes, I've renamed it to this has been squashed. Then when I go back to the history, you can see those top 3 commits are gone, and just replace with this one commit. This has been squashed. So let me open up the old history. Before I check out, let me refresh the log because git checkout test and git log. So you can see those top 3 commits has been squashed.
Cool.
And also, the hash has changed, like the
But
GitHub commit
yeah.
hash, so you won't be able to merge this properly. 'Cause they have this common branch, but then it will treat it as like a separate thing. So okay, let me go here, git merge. Let me just show you merge test. Already up. Okay, so I guess there's no difference, but I mean there's no diff between them, but the hash is different. So if you right. Oh wait, no. No, sorry, I forgot I swapped change branches, and this one merge with test. So you can see it treats them as it's like a separate history here, even though they are the
Interesting.
same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they have a different. We only
A
see the
different
8 characters or whatever, but the
yeah,
40 character hash identifier.
yeah. So when the hash is different, it treats it as a completely separate thing. So that's something you have to be aware of, even though they are the same, like the same changes and everything. GitHub Git treats it as something separate. So when you do a merge with it, it will look like somebody's gone off and did exactly the same changes, and then merge it together like that.
I suppose if you wanted to, you could then just squash that up into your top squash, right? If you somehow messed up, it's not like it's destroyed. You just squash those in.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, but I wouldn't merge with something that I've squashed. It
Mm-hmm.
is just to show you. This is how GitHub treats it. Treats it as something completely separate when the hashes are
Right.
different.
Mm-hmm.
And the only common hash they had was here, like merge
Mm-hmm.
branch. So it treated it as somebody branching off and doing exactly the same changes.
Right.
And plus, when you're squashing, you also need to know, you need to talk to the other person too, right? I mean, like Sampriti or
Yeah.
you, Brian, or you,
hmm
John. I mean, if I'm going to squash something, um, can I just do it arbitrarily? I mean, just do it.
It's best to squash your own commits right
Okay.
now.
Just
Don't
okay.
squash somebody else's until we figure out how to
All
properly
right.
attribute the codes.
I mean,
Anyway,
you're right about the attribution, but in terms of squashing, we could just use this as an exercise
yeah.
where I have a pull request ready to go for Scrum Spike. I'm going to not
hmm
touch that, but I'm going to branch off and make Scrum Spike squash and just practice blowing
Yeah.
through those 13 commits. You
Right.
know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's perfectly fine. So let me show you what I usually do. Instead of squashing, whenever I make changes, so say I want to remove for some reason I want to remove the gem file, right? So I can go ahead and commit this as a separate command and squash it. But that's not what I usually do. What I usually do is commit amend. So that means instead of making a new commit, um, I will just amend my previous commit and add these changes on top of that. So if I go git show this, no, this is not configured the same way. Wait, maybe I need to do this. No, it's not the same. Okay, never mind. Maybe it's because this is a merge. Now, how do I get a diff between? Oh, never mind. Anyway, what I usually do is, okay, let me just show you. So I want to get rid of the gem file. So I can make a new commit, removed gem file, right?
Yeah.
And then when I check the logs, right at the top is remove gem file. If I do git show, it will, yeah, show show me that I've removed the gem file, right? Then I realize, say, oh, maybe I wanted to remove the gem file.lock as well. So I go ahead and remove that. Now instead of committing like making a new commit, like remove gem file.lock, I can just update my previous commit by using git commit amend. So this would apply my previous changes together with these changes under one commit. So it's kind of like committing and squashing at the same time with the previous commit.
I see.
So this is what I usually do instead of doing a normal commit. Once
How
I've
do you
had it,
change the message now?
you can still type a new message like removed gem file and gem file.lock. So I'll do that now. So it amends it. So when I check the log, there it is, just up there. Remove gem file and gem file.lock. That's the new message, and this is the commit that was before it. So you see, it hasn't introduced a new commit. It used the old, like, it just replaced the old commit with a new one.
Yep.
So it has a different hash, and I can do all the usual stuff like add and change the message as well.
Did you mess up my website one application by removing the gem file?
Yes, I did.
Please.
But don't worry, this is in a test with Squash.
Okay.
If I go back to
Scrum Spike.
yeah, Scrum Spike, you'll still have your gem file here.
I would get on a plane right now and go to the UK, my friend. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That was nice. All right.
Yeah, cool. All right. So, do you guys have any more questions about this?
I do, but I need to run. So.
Oh, okay. No
but
worries.
I'll start working on this, and
Yeah.
so we got a video. So you know, see how it goes.
Yep.